Hello everyone and welcome to today's stream. We are working on Let's Build an Online Store in Laravel today, and we are on episode 4. So previously what we'd done is we'd gone through episodes 1, 2 and 3. Episode 1 we did a lot of setup and we started designing data models for our users or customers and how their information will be stored. Then on stream 2 we went through products and product variants and how all of those were going to work. And then on stream 3, our last stream, we started working with carts and orders. And we got quite far. Hey, thanks Brian. So today, what we're doing, we are, let me know if the music's too loud or if anything's too loud and I can adjust. So today we're going to be doing some event storming and event sourcing. So for those that don't know, let's go to the old internet. Event storming. So very simply put, it's a workshop-based method to find out what is happening in the domain of a software program. So to really simplify what they mean by that, it's you take every action or every event or every interaction within a process from your business. Say reading a blog post, what happens? You visit the website, you get a list of you get a list of blog posts, you click a blog post, it gives you that blog post, you read it, you like it, you comment on it, you share it, it gives you all of those sorts of things. It's just a way to break down the interaction with a system really nicely in a non-code focused way, meaning that everyone who might need to make a decision can join in and everyone's got a say and everyone kind of chips in what's happening for them. And I found it to be really, really useful personally. So what we'll do is, hey Bernard and Michael, thanks for joining. So what we do is I've got a quick list here of things that might happen within our product. Evening Amy, otherwise known as wife of me. So a product is added to the cart. That's an event that happens. Product quantity is increased or it's decreased. Again, more events that are happening. Product is removed from the cart or added to the cart. Coupon fails to be added or coupons added or removed. Shipping info added, billing info added. And these are all things that can happen when you're working with the cart. Sorry Bernard, all we're doing is we're going through event storming and we're just explaining how the idea of event storming is to map out in a non-code way the process of working with a piece of software. And we're taking the example of our shopping cart and products and how that process is going to work. We're going to event storm that and then we're going to start to create some events for it so we can approach our shopping cart in an event sourced fashion. What's up, Craig? Thanks for joining. I hope I'm still on your Amazon Echo display thing in your kitchen that you were telling me about. Am I still following you around the kitchen? So I've got two down here, for example. The cart status updated and the order status updated. Now they are really good events. That is exactly what is happening. However, it's not giving us any insight into what actually happened other than the status updated. That's not very useful after the fact. What we want this to be is, instead, what we would call this is cart status changed to completed, or order status changed to failed. You know, that we're looking at that level of thing. We're looking less high level of this specific resource had this done to it. It's more how people have interacted. So to do that, we use event storming. And event storming, as you can probably see and guess from this lovely Google search here, it's typically done using sticky notes and color-coded sticky notes. Now I use something called Miro, but there's many other things that you can use out there. But this is what I'm going to be using. So what we have a command, and this command is something happened. This gives information to an aggregate, and that aggregate fires or stores an event. And it's that simple. So the relationship kind of goes, right, okay, so I'm going to talk to you, and then you are going to talk to that. And that's it. That is like your relationship right there. We're now connected, which is nice. So that's what we want. We want this style thing to be built up. So what we need to do is delete all of those. And we're going to get a new sticky. We're going to have a new command. Here's our command. So what could happen in our system that we're going to want to log? So if we go back to our example, the product is added to the cart. So product added to cart. I think I can make the text smaller. Yeah, it's as small as it gets. That's okay, Samuel, you've not really missed much. All we're doing at the minute is going through, we're starting to map out things in our system. So, what happens when a product was added to the cart? Well, the first thing that we're going to want to do is we are going to want to speak to the cart aggregate. We know we're going to want to talk to the cart aggregate. That's kind of expected. So let's do it this way. Here we go. Getting there. So what happens when we add a product to the cart? So product added to cart, or that should probably read add product to cart. What events are triggered? Well, we're going to have a product was added to cart. This one's pretty simple, to be honest. There's not much more that we need at this stage. It is this one is pretty basic. I can't think of much more that I need to do with that one. So our next sticky, if we go down to a blue one, would be move product from cart. Okay, there's our next one. Put him there. There we go. Then that again. No problem, Alex. You do what you need to do. And then again, we're going to speak to the cart aggregate. And then we will get a new sticky. And then this sticky will be product was removed from cart. You know, exactly how we'd expect our events to be named as well. Our next step, what else could we do? So we'd have another event, and we increase the product quantity. That's a viable option right there. That's what we just did. Again, we're going to speak to the cart aggregate. And what we can do is quantity was increased. Okay, so we got the opposite effect of that. So product quantity was decreased. Again, we're going to speak to that cart aggregate. And we're going to have almost the opposing event now. So there we go. The quantity was decreased. As you can see, at this stage it's relatively simple. It's when you get to orders that it's more complicated. So you could say that when you're removing an item, yeah, the product quantity is just being decreased, but that's not what we want to do. We want to say that the product was, remove product from cart. That's an action they are taking, right? Whoever's working with our platform, they are performing this very specific action right here. And the event that we're going to want to say happened was oh wait, no, I've got that over there. I've already done that one. There we go. So there is our carts. That's how our cart is working. So the next step is to think, okay, so now how do we create an order? So we are going to do things like add billing information. That is going to again speak to that cart aggregate. Yeah, sorry. It's hard. Sometimes you forget about these things. So we're adding our billing information now. That speaks to the cart aggregate. And what that's going to do billing details added. That's on the cart. Great. What else is going to happen when we do that? We might have a specific business rule where, okay, so if you do that, I also want to say billing details saved for user. You could potentially have that event going on too. And that could happen as a byproduct of this at the same time. So that would be exactly the same as shipping. I'm not going to repeat it. But next we would go through and would say, okay, what else? What other interactions? Coupons. We can say coupon or apply coupon to cart. If you name it in an actionable way, it makes this process a little bit easier. Again, we're going to speak to the cart aggregate because that's what we're dealing with. So the events that we're going to do is, other than obviously checking validity of a coupon and that sort of thing, we're going to say, okay, coupon was applied. Then, if that coupon fails, we're going to do something else. Let's say coupon fails for any reason. Perhaps we want to pick up on failed coupons so that when we speak to the cart aggregate, what we're actually going to do at that point is say, okay, so coupon failed. Yeah, I bet. Yeah, you're right. You're definitely right there, Joe. Ben. Craig's definitely doing an Irish jig in the kitchen now. I actually don't know what I'm listening to. I believe this is Russian. Um, so a coupon fails, that goes to our cart aggregate. Our coupon failed to apply, and from there, other events can happen, or other interactions can happen. So what we can do from that is it basically talks to, it has reactors, and things are going to react to these events. And what we do typically is say, okay, so if it fails to apply, we want to notify admin. However, in reality, do you really want to notify an admin every time a coupon fails? No, because if people are spamming it trying, then you're going to get shot in the foot with spam. So you'd probably notify after a certain amount of failures. Okay, so next, let's say a blue one up here. And what we want to say is payment successful. So when the payment is successful, we want to speak to the cart aggregate. And then what we want to do for the event is cart was converted to order. It gets converted to an order. And then from there, what we can do, we can then start working on orders. Hey Mark, thanks for joining, buddy. So, order is created. What happened when our order is created? Well, instead of a cart aggregate, now we want to speak to the order aggregate, right? And then what are we going to want to do? So the order is created. So an order notification was sent. That could be to many different people. We can then say, okay, well, at the same time, we also know that when an order is created, we also want to stock quantity was reduced, because now we've taken that out of that availability away. Cart aggregate, that I'll get into aggregates in a little while. The aggregate is just what you talk to from an event sourcing perspective. So the stock quantity was reduced. Great. Well, another action was committed. Great. Now what do I need to do? Anything else that we might need to do when an order is created? Shipping slot was booked. There we go. We booked the shipping slot. You're not that late, Rian. I'm probably going to go through some of these again. Yeah, this will make a lot more sense when I start actually coding it. This is more kind of business process right now. So when basically we converted a cart to an order, which means that the order was created, which now speaks to the order aggregate. So when that cart was converted to an order, we do the cleanup as a byproduct of that one, Ben. We don't need to do any sort of session clear up. That's all done as a byproduct. So when the order is created, the action that happens, we speak to the order aggregate, and we store an order notification was sent because we're going to send an order notification. The stock quantity was reduced because we need to reduce the stock based off of what's come through on that order. And then the shipping slot was booked. So then there could be other things that you might want to do on this at this point. You might want to do something like something to do with fulfillment, or If you've got a warehouse, maybe you want to send to a separate system, send to your warehousing system. You might not want to though. That is up to you. So another action that happens, this one's an automatic action. So let's say order progressed to delivery. Catch you later, Craig. I'm sure you'll catch up and pick my brains on things later. Order notification will be sent to who? That's not the point right now, Bernard. Yeah, nice to be back. Hope you're doing well too, mate, Edgar. So the order notification sent, Bernard, it's irrelevant who to at this point. We need to send an order notification. That could be to the customer. It could be to the warehouse manager. It could be to anybody, basically. If it's just you managing the store, it would be to you. These are just events that are happening. The specifics of the events right now aren't as important. More about the higher level event that is happening. So, the order progressed to delivery. When we have progressed to delivery, what do we need to say that's going to happen? Well, we are going to say we're going to customer was notified of shipment. Yeah, we want to notify the customer that a shipment's on their way. Or that is with a third party, whatever might be happening with your specific shipping process. It's much easier to do this process when you know the exact process you're doing as a business. Right now we're pretty vague with our process because we haven't got a defined one. So progress to delivery. So a customer was notified of shipment. That's all they need to do at that point, right? Hey, how you doing, buddy? I mean, when it's progressed to delivery, all you need to do is say, yes, it's on the way. And that's pretty much it off your system. But maybe then you have byproducts of this happening, such as order was marked as en route. En route. So when order's marked as en route, that's when certain other things happen. So as you can see, pretty basic, right? We're not doing much. So we go from this, we add a product to the cart. We speak to our cart aggregate and we say, okay, product was added to the cart, and we pass through what product it was. If we haven't got a cart, then we create the cart. If we already have a cart, we just add it to our existing cart. When we remove a product from the cart, we speak to the cart aggregate and we just say that the product was removed from the cart. When the quantity is increased or decreased, we just say that the quantity was increased or the quantity was decreased. And what we can do is we can say, here's a product ID, and here is a new, here is how much I want to increase or decrease it by. Add to, -1, that sort of thing. Adding billing information. So we speak to the cart aggregate, and then we say, okay, billing details were added. Cool. Store that against what's going on in the background. And then billing details are saved for the user. So, okay, you give me new billing information. What I'm going to do, I'm going to save that against your account so that you don't have to do this again. And exactly the same with the shipping. And coupons. So when we apply a coupon to a cart, we speak to the cart aggregate, and we run this coupon was applied event, which then we've got things that are reacting to this coupon was applied. So what we'll have is, okay, when the coupon's applied, let's make sure we add that coupon to the current cart. Let's add the amount that's going to be reduced. But while we're doing that, while we're applying a coupon to a cart, we're going to check if it's a valid coupon. We're going to check if it's ran out of uses, if it's still available to be used. Then we're going to go, okay, so now we're going to apply it to the cart and apply any information that we need to the cart. And then if a coupon fails through that process, we'll just hit that coupon failed to apply instead. So they're almost the same sort of action, and we've just got two different outcomes. When a payment's successful, we speak to the cart aggregate. I'm just going to say cart was converted to order. If it's unsuccessful, then all we got to do is say, sorry, try again. When the order's created, order notification sent, stock quantities reduced, and shipping slots booked. When we progress to delivery, we notify the customer of a shipment and we mark order as en route, basically. And that is event storming in the most simplest of forms. Now, Rove have got a pretty good demonstration on this. And what I'm going to do, I've watched this before, obviously. I'm going to drop this in the video, in the comments, and it is just coming to your screens now. This event storming demo and discussion with the Rove team. It's got some pretty smart people. Yeah, it's a few years old, but the concept still applies. They do a very good walkthrough and a very in-depth walkthrough on a hotel booking system. You'll find it really useful if you want to deep dive more into what event storming is and how you can work with it. I'm touching at a higher level right now because I don't really have a defined process right now. If this was my store, I'd be defining a process. And I'd be very specific about the actions, interactions, and byproducts of things happening, and I'd be flagging those at the same time. Because what you can do at the same time is, so order was created, you can say, okay, so, you know, we can do byproducts such as sent to warehouse manager. You know, there we go. There's a byproduct. You know, what happened when that happened? Okay, so when something sent a notification sent to the warehouse manager, we then email warehouse manager. You know, we can really chase this really down the line as much as we need to. And okay, what happens when that happens? And you can, you know, you're basically filling out this entire business process, getting everybody's input, using different color coordinations for different things. And it's instead of having to, you know, write out document, when you do this, this happens. It's almost writing its own user stories, its acceptance tests. It's writing its own, you know, boundaries for the domain. It's okay, cool. You can see some clear splits in our domain over here, and it allows you to really get in depth. So what we're going to do, we're going to work through some of this. So to do that, we need this. Make sure I've got the latest version. We are good. We're going to quickly do a composer update in case we've got any new Laravel changes that we want to be pulling through. Right, turn the music down in my ears, but not for you. There we go. That's a good way to do it. So, the first thing we want to do, let's just double check what our composer situation's like. We've got a couple of sparsely packages, a couple of my packages, and that's it so far. Currently using PHP unit, although I am going to move this over to Pest. So the first thing I want to do is, because we're now jumping into more interactive code, let's install Pest. Why wouldn't we? Now, if you haven't heard of Pest, firstly, where have you been? Welcome to 2021. This is what testing looks like. If you do know what Pest looks like, even better. Let's get started. Basically, Pest is just a nicer way to write some of your tests. it still uses PHP unit under the hood, so you've still got the full power of PHP unit. It's just a kind of more developer-friendly wrapper around it. So now we can just install. I'm pretty sure I've already started you, thank you. So now what we want to do is come down to our tests. So here's our expectations. Here's any functions that we're going to create. And this is how we can do this. Clean up some code. Pest forever, definitely. I'm a big fan of Pest. Right, in feature, cool, unit has got nothing in. So now I can just do, I can either run vendor bin pest, or I can do PHP artisan tests. And there we go. I've basically got an alias for A, for artisan. Makes it a lot quicker to do things sometimes. So what I'm going to do, we're going to commit this quickly. And we're going to say, let's get pesty. So any tests that I write from now on, I want to be pest tests. So that is useless. I'll keep that one. But what we're going to do is we're going to completely convert this one. So how can we do this with pest? Okay, so it receives HTTP OK on the home page. Screen looks faint. How's this looking? Let me know if anyone else is having an issue. Right, now we can drop that. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to say get simplify that. So that takes an argument of URI. Web. What I'm going to quickly do, I'm just going to add a name onto here. We're going to call it home for now. And we're going to say name is home. And assert status. And the status we want to assert is there we go. That's all we need. So I can now just remove that and save that. I'm pretty sure, can you get, yeah, it is literally just one of those daily mix things that got randomly created. Copy link to playlist. I'm going to paste it in the comments, but this will be quite a big link, I think. So it's quite a large link, but feel free to find that. I don't know if there's a way I can assert status do. So assert status is just saying, okay, what is the HTTP status here, basically. And I'm pretty sure that should target class URL doesn't exist. How about now? Nope, still failing. Oh. Okay, so that might be my fault. Let's just keep it like this for now. There we go, we're passing. So it receives HTTP OK on the home page. Done. Yeah, so the expectations API is a funny one that I'm not 100% on yet. So it throws an exception, expectations instead of that. So I don't know whether I can do like expect tap or anything like that. I'm pretty sure if Luke Downing was here, he would slap me all up in the head and tell me I'm doing it wrong. But I'm going to get him to join me again soon. So what we're going to say now is converting to Pest. I was speaking to him a little bit earlier today, and we were talking about him joining me on another stream so we can go through a full-on testing session together. So, okay, we've got Pest. Pest is in. We can now start writing tests, but we also need to start doing some event sourcing. So, sparsely Laravel event sourcing. So, you can go through and did you mean Laravel.com? Yeah, I obviously go there a lot. So you can buy this course, this ebook and the code, and it is pretty good. I've even given it a glowing recommendation because it is amazing, you know, I'm not going to lie about that one. Or we could just use a package for now. I do have a copy of the course and it is pretty good. So we want this sparsely Laravel event sourcing. So yeah, for event sourcing in Laravel, it makes a lot of sense. You can do other things, but it just, you end up making compromises or spending, 2, 3, 4 times longer than what you really needed to. So, composer require, great. Now let's publish our migrations and migrate. Get the config. That's what our config will then look like, which we don't really need to go through for this. If you want to see this more in depth, Frick has got loads of great content on event sourcing, and if you really want to go for it, the course is pretty good. I'm not going to go through this package too much because I've done it a few times before. Instead, I'm just going to focus on what I'm doing. Yeah, that package that I built that because it's more lightweight than other things that I'd used. Right, so now we can say git add, git commit, adding some Belgian magic packages. Courtesy of Freak. And team, obviously. I've actually bought the testing course from Sparsy. I haven't had a chance to go through it yet, though, if I'm honest. Maybe then I'd be able to write better pest tests. Good advertisement. Advertising slot here for Freak. Ready to rock and roll, Freak. Drop me a DM, mate. So, what we want to do now is we want to start creating our aggregates and we want to start creating things. So, our customer is where the carts live. So, we need an aggregate in here. So, what we're going to do, add a PHP file. We're going to create a new directory. aggregates. And what I was thinking today, actually, while I was, working away and thinking about what I'm going to do on the stream, was a lot of the code that we're doing, it all lives within source. And what I could do quite easily is package this up really quickly. It's not going to take much to package this up for a Laravel application, right? It's going to pull out a few things, pull in some tests, and away we go. Right, so we are going to create a cart aggregate. And this is going to extend aggregate root. And we are good. We can start. So, writing aggregates. Your first aggregate is usually, it's pretty simple. All you want to do is give it things, create account, add money, these actions. So, add product is what you're looking for here. So, we can have let me zoom in so we can kind of focus on the code here. So, public function, add product. We're going to return ourselves because we need to. So let's return this. Here we need to say this, record that. Basically, the domain event that happened was something happened, new event name, basically. So we can come over to here, customer. We can create a new directory for events. And the event that we want to store, PHP class. I keep doing that today. Product was added to cart. Extends should be stored. I'm pretty sure it's an extend. Let me go double check. Yeah, no, I'm just gonna go with it and see. There we go. Should be stored. Simplify that one. So, what do we need to pass into this? We need to do. So when we're adding the product, what we want to say is we want to pass through two things. We want to pass through the product identifier, and we want to pass through the cart identifier, because we need to know which product to add to what cart, right? So, int product, int cart. Pretty good. So, new product was added to cart. So, on the product was added to cart, we need to pass some information that we want to be stored, right? So, public function construct. In the constructor, we're going to have public int product ID and a public int cart ID. Now we could probably name this as well the same, so it's consistent. So down here I can say that the product ID is product ID and the cart ID is a cart ID. And that's me storing the fact that that event happened. It's super simple. So, if we go back to the Sparsely page, advanced usage, aggregates, testing aggregates. So, we can write in a test for our aggregate. We can fake, given when an account was created, assert we've recorded it. That's simple. So why don't we go ahead and do that? We could have done that before. We're going to do it afterwards because these little bits of logic are so small that it's not. I mean, I'm wondering, can I just not just record this, return this, record that? Because if that's returning the aggregate root, then the docs say to do it this way. I'm just thinking a step ahead there, wondering if I can. So this to me, is this a feature or a unit test? What do people think? Would you class integrating testing the cart aggregate as feature or as a unit? Ooh. Anybody got ideas? What would you call it? I'd love to do some more interactive sessions sometime. That'd be fun. And we're just going to go for feature. So we're going to get a new PHP file within here, and we're going to say cart aggregate test. There we go. We're going to quickly declare some strict types. So, hey, good on you, Mark and Ben. So it can store an event for adding a product. Quick question from Bernard. So which class is domains, aggregate and event based on introduction of an event sourcing? So your aggregate is kind of the controlling middle part for working with event sourcing. When you want to work with event sourcing, you could either just trigger the events manually, speak to a command bus. I use aggregates typically, and our aggregate, we speak to our aggregate and say, right, aggregate, product was added, here's some information. That aggregate will then store an event, and while storing that event, it will dispatch it, which means that we can listen to that. It will store that event and fire the event, and then we've got a listener on the other end of it in the application saying, okay, so when product was added is fired, I want to do X, Y, and Z. That's all we're doing here. So cart aggregate fake, and simplify that one. So what we want to say is given we only want one event. We have to new it up, right? Yeah. New product was added to cart. Simplify that one. Product was added to cart, and we'll have the product ID. What we'll do is this should be so what we want is product and then cart let's create one of those as well. And now we're starting to use the factories that didn't have much use beforehand. Now we can say product ID. The cart ID is cart ID. Given that assert, well, the same thing was recorded, right? So expected event basically we are expecting this. Right, so first setting that array contains. Ah, wait a minute. So what's going on? Given, blah blah blah. Then I'm pretty sure I did this before. Store blah blah blah. Product ID, cart ID, metadata. That's nice. This doesn't look like a great way to test it. It just feels a bit when account aggregate. So given this event, when okay, I've got to manually call it now. Maybe not very clear there. I'll have to have a look into that. Given that action rather than no, it's expecting an event, which is a really weird thing there. So when the callable for aggregate, then we want the aggregate add product, and we've got the product ID. There we go, now we got it. So basically, given this event, when we call the add product with this information, we're asserting that this event was called. It feels weird, but it's passing. So this return void. So it can store an event for adding a product. Great. We've got a test for that. It feels a bit hanky. Shame I can't like type in those because that would look nicer. Just me. This wouldn't look so big if I didn't have named arguments, but I like named arguments. They look cool. So there's our first one. That's adding a product to the cart. We're recording that product was added to the cart. So what happens after you've ran that? So what you want next is a projector. So we need projectors. None of that. Creating array to string projectors. So we can use the artisan command to make one, but because of how we are working with them, here we go. Writing your first projector. Here's model, defining the events. Here's the events, projectors. So here's a projector. So I'm going to walk through this again in a second, Bernard. Don't worry, mate. So let's come back up to customers. And let's go down to here and let's create projectors. So we're going to have a cart projector, I think. And that needs to extend projector. So once I've done this part, I will walk us back through it, because I'd rather just go through one process this whole evening and people understand it than nobody understand it. So we need a public function on product was added to cart. Product was added to cart event. Here's our event. We don't need to return anything from this. I will go through that in a minute, Bernard, don't worry. So basically what this is going to do is at this point we should have a cart. So we can say don't really want the product though, do we? We want the variant ID. So we're going to have to refactor in a little while. We'll refactor after the fact, I think, right now. So product was added to cart projector. So on product was added to cart. What we're going to do, we've got the cart and we want to make sure we add this to it, basically. Because it's not actually been added yet. The projector is going to add it. So what we will do is cart equals cart query find, and the ID is going to be the event cart ID. There's our cart. So now we can say cart items create. So when we create cart items, this is going to be a cart item. So all we need, purchasable ID, purchasable type, and the cart ID, which we will have. So we just need the purchasable ID and type. So let's make sure we get the spelling correct here. Purchasable ID is event product ID. Okay, so we're going to have to actually add a string into here as well. Aggregate. There we go. Cool. All still looking good. So yeah, I think I need to. So I'm going to come back round to that in a second. So now I just want to be able to say the purchasable type is event type. Yeah. So now we can say purchasable ID instead. Cart factory, no. That's fine. Purchasable. There we go. No, the type, so that's basically just polymorphic at this point. So we're saying, you know, variant or not a variant. So in theory, this shouldn't be a product actually. This should be a variant, not a product. And that should still pass with no problems. There we go. So now we just need to think about walking through it, and we need to register projectors, registering projectors. We need to come to our event. We need to create like an event sourcing provider, or inside the app service provider. We need to basically just register them. So we've got this cart projector. So I like to make a very specific one for my event sourcing stuff, and I usually call it event sourcing service provider because, you know, got a nice ring to it. Yeah, it does what it says on the tin. It's exactly what I need it to be. Let's just clear some of that up. So this is in the register. So when we're registering, projectionist, pretty sure I need the facade. Add projectors. And this accepts an array of projectors. There we go. So I thought the polymorphic was the to variant as type rather than cart as a type. No, so the cart contains either a variant or could later on down the line contain a bundle. You don't need. Yeah, that's about it. So you basically you add a variant to your cart instead of a product, or you add a bundle to your cart instead of a product. That's all that is. Right. I know what's going on. So now can we test again? We are looking good. So let me walk through this once again. So we want to add a product to our cart, so we need to speak to our cart aggregate, and that is going to trigger or save a product was added to cart. So our test is probably a very good place to look at this. So we want to, you know, we say, okay, get our cart aggregate, add a product, call this event add product, here's a product ID, here's a cart ID, and here's the type that we're going to send over. And then that we'll come into here, we'll hit this method, we'll say, okay, here's our information, and what that aggregate will do, we'll say, okay, let's just record this event that the product was added. Here's the information that was just passed in. Now just return ourselves. We need to obviously persist. Now we're failing. Okay. Failed to certain that an array contains product was added to cart. Maybe that. Did I have it right in the first place? No. I'm gonna ignore testing properly for now, I think. This seems to be failed to ascertain that an array contains domains, customers, product was added to cart. Okay, let us have a quick look. And what we're also going to do, here's our test case. We need to make sure these are running as well. Right. Yeah, so if you just follow the docs for this side of it, testing aggregates down here. So here we go. We've got, this is basically what we're doing. We're adding money, or we're recording something. We're doing something. So given that the account was created, I don't know if we actually need that. Basically, we just want to prove that it can happen, right? Do we need any? We shouldn't need a when. I don't think. I don't think we need the when, personally. I'm pretty sure I didn't use it last time. What was the last Laravel project that I did? Not feature flags. Transporter. Tool event sourcing. No. Not. It wasn't ERP. We weren't doing event sourcing in the ERP. Let's sort by PHP. Company's house, parameter bag, forged dashboard. No. PHP online, no. Transporter. Lots of Fathom stuff. Allow streamers. Where did I last do it? I did it on a stream. Was it on Caster? Was it on Caster? This will be able to tell me. Yeah, we've got event sourcing going on here. Did we write our tests? Podcasts test? No. What did I do? What did I do? We did something not that long ago where we what could it have been? Wasn't Laravel shop. You know what? I cannot remember what it was now. It has disappeared, and I've lost it. No, it wasn't ERP. When was the last time? Mark might know. Mark, when was the last time I did event sourcing? Blog post. It was, wasn't it? It was something to do with a blog, maybe. Was it here? No. This is looking possible. Event sourcing. Come to our tests. API v1 posts test. New. Series of stream. There's only one branch. I'm not sure what. I'm not going to worry about it too much right now. Yeah, it was definitely last month. Right. Let's go to me. Let's go have a look. Right. What have I been doing? Refactoring stuff, building an online store. It wasn't part of clean architecture. It wasn't Golang. It wasn't the startup. Right, 1 month ago from here. Building a startup in the open. Okay. It can't have been. It can't have been. Unless I've got like a different branch. What did I can't remember what I called it now. Caster, wasn't it? Are you sure it was definitely clean architecture, yeah? What did I even call that? I've done so much already, I can't remember anymore. Okay, well, I'm going to consider it lost for good because I can't remember what I even called it. Clean architecture number 2. Alright, let's mute myself. Right, skip the ad. Oh, look, there I am. I'm wearing a different t-shirt today. Here we go. Oh, handle. We're doing something there. On post was created. Service provider. We're registering that. Yeah, we're doing it. We're sending an email. We didn't write any tests though, did we? So, clean architecture. Here we go. We're testing now. Okay, cool. So, test, assert JSON. We're going to have an aggregate in there somewhere. Come on. We can do it. We can do it. We don't want to do that. We don't care about that right now. Come on. We just want to see a little snippet of the code. Stream inception. Yeah, stream in a stream in a stream. Okay, assert database has lots of stuff going on there. Post factory create. Oh, come on. Don't say I didn't test. I definitely tested aggregates. You were close. You were really close. Oh, we're talking about it. We're talking about it. Fake given. Oh, too far. Right. All else fails, I can watch my own tutorial. Here we go. So, record that so it can create a post. Given that, then I realise it's got to be an array, so I wrap it in an array. Or simplify it and wrap it in an array. Okay, oh god, I'm so boring to watch, aren't I? How do you people do it? So here we go. I get that. I come back over. We do some stuff. We talk a little bit. Come on, Steve. How do you people watch me? Right, given when. Yeah, yeah. Given when. Cert recorded. And then, if this goes green, I don't even know what's going to happen. Because... Hey! Ha! Fails for you too. Yeah, how do you watch me? It's well boring. Okay, so what do I do? I try and fix it for a little bit. Give an event. Assert event. Oh, maybe that was it. There we go. Given event expect recorded was... I don't want another new one, do I? I want the... There we go. No, still no idea. Event. It's still... It's not the first time I failed then. That's always good to see. So... Do I just give up or something? Is that it? Yeah, I reckon I just gave up. Well, that's a weird thing. So, if I come back to the actual aggregate here, wait, I know. Oh, silly Steve. When that assert recorded expected event is the event. How do you do it, Ben? Just what is your secret? Okay, so failed asserting that an array contains blah 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 metadata information looking cool. So here's that new event. So given this event, when we add product, maybe for that. Nope. You know, I'm not sure. So I'm going to walk through. I'm going to ignore the testing for now. I'm going to speak to Freak, or I'm going to speak to Luke. Maybe they've got an idea, or maybe I just need to go like watch one of the courses again or something. But basically what we do, we say, okay, cart aggregate, run this and persist it. All you need to do. So if we just focus on actually aggregates themselves, writing your first aggregate, creating and figuring. So here's our first aggregate. So we've got our aggregate. Here's our event. We retrieve, we add, and we persist. So one thing that I know I was doing wrong right there was I didn't need to persist here. Because that is just something that comes off of that. We don't want to persist early. We just want to record that. So record that. I don't want to persist. Then return this. So account aggregate, do this. When add product, persist, maybe? No. Basically, when we call add product, basically we just want to say, okay, we've now recorded that event. That's all we're doing. That's our first business rule, implementing our next business rule now. So that's adding to cart. The next step is removing from a cart. Kind of exactly same sort of thing that we're going to do. So ignore that. ignore the test case, cart aggregate, and we'll do a public function move product and purchasable ID. What do we want to remove? And basically, from which cart? Yep, no, you take your dog out. I'll power on through. So we're basically going to say record that, return this. So we need to create a new event. And instead of a product was added to cart, we want a product was removed from cart. And that is going to extend the should be stored. Cheers, Mark. Catch you later, buddy. So, within here, we need a constructor. And that's where we need to pass the information back through. So, we're going to have a public int for purchasable ID and a public int for cart ID. That's all we need there. So back to our aggregate, record that. You need type as arg on remove. You are correct. So the domain event is going to be a new product was removed from cart. String type. So now we've got another problem, which I'm going to refactor in a minute. These are very similar. So what we're going to have in here is an abstract product cart event extends should be stored. Simplify. Here's our constructor. Abstract, which means we don't actually need that. Don't need that. And again with this, we no longer need that. Don't need that. And there we go. So, all we've done there is, because these are so similar, we've just moved it all up to an abstract. refactor that one. So it's a product cart event instead. So that takes the purchasable ID, the cart ID, and the type. Can I increase the speaking volume or the music volume? How about I just speak a little bit louder? So I'm used to trying to keep my voice quiet because of the kids in bed. So here we go, remove product. There's that going on. And what we want is in our projectors, cart projector, we now want to public function on product was removed from cart. Product was removed from cart. Here's my event. We're gonna not to return anything. And what we want to get the cart first. So again, we can do that by doing this. Here's our cart. And then the best way to remove it. So cart items where the purchasable ID is event purchasable ID, where delete. I think that's probably going to be the best way, right? Then where the purchasable type is a type on the event as well. Also, we're probably going to want to say where the... I shouldn't have to do like a where cart, should I? There you go. That, in theory, is what I'm looking to do. I'll have to write tests for a lot of this, but as soon as I can figure out how to get testing done on the aggregates. So the idea is we will say in our actual code, we'll do cart aggregate UUID, pass in some UUID there or something. Remove product. Here's my cart ID. Here's my purchasable ID, and yeah, we can do like a get type or get class on the product that we're working with, and then we can persist it, and that's all we got to do. That basically. So is a projector kind of in the position of a user repository? Yeah, kind of. So the projector is a byproduct. So it's listening to events. It's like the listening aspect. So if you look at like the command bus pattern, you have a command coming in, or CQS, you have a command coming in and you have a handler. The projector is basically just a handler side to it. Yeah, it's similar, but these are dispatched. So these events, for example, are dispatched. Should be stored. Abstract should be stored. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they do some weird, crazy stuff in the background for dispatching. Basically, it gets dispatched and it gets ran. It might be ran in sync if that's the queue driver you're using. It could be pushed through Redis, SQS, but instead of kind of passing it through an event dispatch it in within the synchronous process, these are more asynchronous. Right. What's next? What does it mean to say code optimization and performance improvements? You saw it in a job description. Oh, okay. So that's just on about making the code better. And so let's take a, let's say we had a like this, for example, a little, some sort of slower code. Instead of doing that, or maybe you could do something like count all, do that, then do something with it. Performance improvement there would be you're looking at that basically. That would be one optimization. So instead of having like a for loop or a for each loop, um, you know, code optimization, well, you're getting a collection back, so you may as well tap into the power of that instead of having to convert it into something that's iterable straight away. Then because then you can typecast that. You can get return types, caching, lazy loop. Yeah, you can do a lot of different things when it comes to performance optimizations and code optimizations too. So I think there's two relatively good ones there. We could do something like, let's add one more for now. So we'll go public function increase quantity int So what I'm currently thinking here is I'm adding a product and I'm removing a product. That bit's fine. When I'm increasing the quantity, I'm actually going to have the cart item ID. So I can say this, record that, return this. No real tutorials on that one, Bernard. It's more practice, I guess. That's stuff you kind of pick up along the way. So here we go. We can have a new class now, and that can be quantity was increased. Quantity was increased, and this is a we'll extend some. Here's a quantity event, which is going to extend a should be stored. Let's simplify this one. So within the constructor here, we're going to have a integer for the cart item ID and public integer for quantity to either add or subtract. Here's our abstract class. So now what we can do, we can create a new one and say increase cart quantity, and we're going to extend the quantity event. And what we can say is that this is final because this is not going to be extended in any way. And what I can do is create a new decrease cart quantity quantity. This is going to extends quantity event. Declare strict types. Really weird. So there we go, fixed. So basically, when we increase the quantity, we want to record that a new increase cart quantity, where the cart item ID is a cart item ID, and the quantity is a quantity. And there's that, and we can pretty much do the same thing for the decrease. So let's increase his decrease quantity, new decrease cart quantity. Let's get this domain event there, and there we go. And there we go, exactly the same thing. There we go, and there we go. So now in our projector, what we can do, we've done the on cart product was added. What we can do now is public function on increase cart quantity. So what we actually need also is a cart ID. Let's get that in there too. So we can say for this cart do this. Cart ID. Wait that a minute. There we go. Now down here. And there we go. There's a cart ID, cart item ID being passed through. There's a quantity event which now handles that. Here's the increase, there's the decrease, and our projector can now say, okay, cart query find with the ID is event cart ID. Or, sorry, we don't want a cart, do we? And the item to be cart item, where the column cart ID is that value, and we also want to say where the column ID is event cart item ID, That's it. So we'd basically, oh no, not delete, update. Update. Or first. So we're increasing the quantity, right? So item update. We look at the cart item. We've got no quantity is cart item. I thought we had that on here. Or do we not have quantity yet? Total amount. No, we don't have it. So we had it on the order, but we didn't have it on here for some reason, which is really strange. So let's quickly add that. Right, migrations. So cart items. How did I not have that? Key. Table. Inside integer. Default. 1. Oh, no, I don't even want a default, do I? That might fail the seed. Cart items now got a quantity, which is what I wanted. So yeah, we all miss it. So basically, see, we've now got the cart item, and we can update, and we want the quantity to be the result of item quantity plus event quantity. And then we can do the same thing with decrease on decrease cart quantity minus. So what we want to do here is if the item quantity is equal to the event quantity. So if we're basically going to remove it, then remove item basically. So we can say item delete, and this is where I would say cart aggregate retrieve UID, and we'd do something like remove product. So instead of removing item there, maybe we can remove product, and that is going to take the purchasable ID as item ID, the cart ID as item cart ID, and the type as get class item. I think There you go. Item purchasable. No, we want to remove the purchasable ID. There's a type. String. There you go. So basically, if we try to decrease the quantity, we can say, okay, so let's get the item, and if the quantity left on that item is equal to the quantity we're trying to remove, we're actually removing the product, not decreasing. So do that, and then not exit. We kind of want to break there, don't we? Or exit the chain. No. Gonna have to kind of do it some way or other, aren't we? Just return. We're not returning anything. So yeah, basically, yeah, cool. We're done. We're not going to give you anything, but we're done. Just return. And then we can run that, so we have to wrap it in a if else. So basically, we're trying to remove the exact amount that we've got stored. So let's just remove it instead, and then return. And if it isn't equal to that, we could probably do something like if something like that maybe. What do we want? What do we want? Yeah, greater than or equal to quantity. Want that to be event this side though. Event item. No, we want to avoid negative quantity. So if the amount we're trying to take away is greater than or equal to the quantity left or already on the already in the cart, then just remove that item, is what we're trying to say there. And as soon as I can figure out how to test aggregates, I can write these some nice tests around this, I think, just to prove some of that logic there. So what I'm going to do is git commit event storming session and starting with event sourcing aggregates. So I need to talk to, I think maybe Brent or Freak about best way to test, or maybe I just need to go back and watch the course I've paid for. Might be a good idea. Because then that will give us all the information. Right, so that is up. So let's go have a look at, if you haven't seen it already, here is the repo. Tonight was a bit of a funny night with this, wasn't it? So there's the repo, and what we're going to do is we are now done with that one. So we can now come to look at episode 5. We're not going to look at shipping. In this episode, we are, what do you want to see? We are going to look into, well, we are going to carry on with our event sourcing. So where did we get to? We want to be able to add billing information to our cart, applying coupons, adding billing information and coupons, etc. to our cart before getting a payment processed. So yeah. Return from the when return event and takes the item. Ooh, okay. Let's have a quick look. Feature. So we need to return that, right? Aggregates. Testing aggregates. Given when? No, you don't need to return anything. It's saying. Oh, no, that's saying return aggregate UID. Ah, shift. I'm going to start a Docker for a couple of days actually. Yeah, I'm gonna have to speak to Freak or look at the course to figure this part out again. I do have the course. Event sourcing in Laravel. I do have access to it. Testing aggregate routes. I got access to it, so I'm probably going to go have a look at this and figure out what's going on. I'll figure that out before next time. We don't want to return anything there though. And what we can also do, we'll add a bonus of how to use Laravel Workbench from Shift. Also, if you did not see my tweet, somewhere I tweet way too much. Okay, I'm never gonna find it. Let's see, this Tuesday, stuff going on, none of that. So, here we go, Tuesday 28th. We will be running. Comment your favourite PHP feature. So if you want a ticket to Scotland PHP, it's shaping up to be a pretty cool conference. Come and like this tweet. Drop a comment. You know, completely free ticket. Otherwise, if you look at the information below in the description, you can get a voucher if you want to buy your ticket instead. 10% off using the code IFollowSteve on YouTube in the description below. I've got a Discord. Come and chat. I'm talking to quite a few people who turn up to streams in the comments. Chat to them quite often. Get ideas for upcoming streams. Talk about upcoming streams. And just generally kind of all get on. Just have a bit of a chat. Feel free to join us. Yeah, like, subscribe. Let me know what you think. I can make sure that content is more relevant and people are enjoying it. But on that note, it is 20 to 10 UK time. I would like to spend some time with my wife, so I'll see you all on Twitter. Leave me your thoughts on Twitter or join me on Discord, and I will see you all Tuesday. Have a good weekend. See ya.